to Pittsburgh after finalizing the deal. U.S. Steel is based in Pittsburgh. The United Steelworkers Union opposes the takeover by Japan's Nippon Steel. President Biden has expressed his desire that U.S. Steel remain an American steel company that is domestically owned and operated. Nippon says it remains engaged with the Steelworkers Union and looks to form a closer relationship with the community by moving the headquarters to Pittsburgh. Ginny Coselda, Fox News.
JetBlue Airlines says it will end service in several cities and cut flights out of Los Angeles to focus on more profitable routes. Beginning June 13th, JetBlue will pull out of Kansas City, Missouri, Bogota, Colombia, Quito, Ecuador, and Lima, Peru. It'll also drop several destinations from Los Angeles, including Seattle, San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Miami. JetBlue has lost more than $2 billion since its last profitable year, 2019. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to the fastest moving hour in radio. This is the Lawrence County Republican Party show, and I want to welcome my good friend, Mr. Lawrence Sutton, who is also the Secretary of the Lawrence County Republican Party. My name is Brandon Taylor. I'm the chairman of the Lawrence County Republican Party. And sit back and get ready, because there's no telling what we may say before the hour's out, Lawrence.
Well, we've got to be very careful sometimes what we may say they'll pull our radio program on us. Not right. WDXE, but YouTube anyway.
No, we want to say a big thanks to WDXE for supporting free speech and allowing us the opportunity to get in and talk about conservative views. And, of course, we'll talk about liberal views as well, but you and I both stand on the conservative side of the page. I want to thank Mr. Chris Stutz, Farm Service Solutions, for sponsoring our show. He's located at 41 Williams Road, Farm Service Solutions. If they don't have it for your farm, you probably just don't need it. They've got about everything out there, Lawrence. I know you talked to him earlier today. Is he getting good sales going?
Oh, man, let me tell you something. He actually came over to my house today and was helping with my dad's tractor.
Was he delivering farm equipment to you?
No, he wasn't delivering farm equipment. We're trying to get my farm equipment working.
Okay, he's working on it for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. There's not too many people as good as that man is.
Yeah.
I mean, not even the fact that he sponsors our radio program, but, I think me and you both, we're not out looking for sponsors, and we darn sure wouldn't take a sponsor that we wouldn't personally have to our home. Mm-hmm. They got to be somebody special if we're going to bring them to our listeners.
Yep. He's a good guy, great friend.
Yeah, and I want people to know, hey, I use him in his service and what he does, and I recommend him to even all my friends even. But yeah, he had this thing. I'm going to tell you something. If I had the machinery for this, I want this.
Has he got toys you need?
He's got toys everybody needs. Are you kidding me? Where I live at, I grow rocks.
Okay.
I don't grow plants. I don't grow trees. Even though my wife forces it, she's able to make it grow.
Sure.
But I grow good rocks.
So you're saying it rains and the rocks just come right up out of the ground?
They do.
Okay, I understand.
They grow right there.
Yep. And
so weeds.
Has Chris got a toy for you?
Man, he's got this. It's called a rock picker.
Okay.
It's 70 inches wide, so it's almost 6 foot wide. It has a sweeper arm. It rotates 360 degrees in both directions. It's got a high torque and a low speed hydraulic motor on it, so it'll protect your seals from being damaged. And then it has a grader in it even. So as it's picking up the rocks and getting your rocks, it's making your dirt nice and smooth.
Wow.
I'm like, man.
So it has a screen. It screens the soil as it falls through? Wow. And it catches the rocks.
Catches the rocks.
I'm telling you, Farm Service Solutions got all kinds of toys.
And he goes all over the place at these different shows looking for things that he can bring back to Lawrence County to help us, with our farming or if it's someone like me that plays at farming. Okay.
You're a pretend farmer.
I'm a pretend farmer, yes.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. Call him up, 931-242-7675. That's Farm Service Solutions located on 41 Williams Road. They're open 6 days a week. Of closed for on Sunday because that's the Lord's Day.
That's right.
And we're thankful for Chris being a supporter. I also want to mention Travis Caldwell's, United Country Real Estate, Southern Tennessee Realty. They actually found Sasquatch. People don't know that.
His name is Travis. His name's Travis.
Yeah, and we didn't know. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know Travis was a Sasquatch until he's out there roaming through the woods looking for your next property right now. So if you need a piece of property, call him up.
And I'm going to tell everybody this: if you don't know Travis, one, he's a good family man.
He is.
And he's what you would call a gentle giant. He's somebody you have no problem being around your kids. But the reason we call him the Sasquatch, because that is a big, big man.
That's true. He is a big guy.
And I'm going to tell you something. When we were up last September during the special sessions, I was really glad to have not only Travis with us, but Chris Stutz with us, who was defending our Second Amendment rights in Tennessee.
Yep.
Both of those guys were with us.
Yep.
And I don't like to think of myself as being a small guy by any means.
Yep.
But those dudes dwarf me.
Yeah, the big guys.
They're big dudes, and I tell you what, I don't see too many guys bigger than them running the halls.
Well, if you need a piece of property, call Travis. All joking aside, he is a great guy. He's a veteran.
Yes.
He is a conservative. He was actually on a radio show with us last week, and he called and said, "Hey, I just want to jump in with you guys," and because we open this up for folks that know us.
Yes,
People
absolutely.
want to come in here and be on the radio. Come on,
Have fun with us, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, we love it, and we appreciate Travis. He's with United Country Real Estate, Southern Tennessee Realty, and his phone number is 931-629-3033. If you're looking for good, honest businessmen to do business with locally, local guys that love this county, love this community, love this country, give these guys a call. I mean, they'll treat you right. They're honest. They're our friends.
Yeah.
And if they don't, you call me and let me know.
Absolutely. But you know what? I sent Chris to a friend of mine and asked Chris to get a bid on a piece of equipment. And my buddy's been hunting for this equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, on the internet.
Yeah.
And you know that Chris came out $200 cheaper than the cheapest thing he could find online?
I believe it. The reason why you get a good deal is because he knows his stuff, and he's out there looking for good prices.
He is.
Give these guys a call. So let's talk a little politics.
Yeah, let's talk. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, man.
I've been up at the Capitol for 2 days in a row.
I want to get something out of the way.
Okay.
And you and I have not talked about this. We're coming in here. We don't have notes. I brought a piece of blank paper because
you don't even see my notes in my bag out.
No, we're going to have some fun with this. And I don't even know the direction to go. But what about the Supreme Court telling Texas that they can protect the southern border?
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. One, when I first read that, I was like, yes, that is awesome.
Right.
Biden administration, here's your middle finger.
Right.
But on the other hand, why does it take the Supreme Court to tell us that?
That's I agree 100%.
And it kind of worries me, and I mentioned this, I think, last week, maybe it was a week before last, I mentioned this, that it's kind of concerning to me that everybody is waiting for the Supreme Court to be the law of the land, and the law of the land is not the Supreme Court.
It's already been settled.
It's already been settled. It's called the Constitution.
That's exactly right.
And we have our legislators that are supposed to take and hold these unelected bureaucrats to a standard that they cannot stample on people's rights.
And we've had a lot of Supreme Court interaction with voting.
Yes.
I mean, who would have thought they would have had such a debate over Trump being allowed to be put on a ballot? I didn't see that one coming. When they mentioned it, I thought, is this even real?
You know what? I did too. I did too. I thought it was a joke, but everything that the Democrats do just about, I think, is a joke, but I don't anymore.
So we're in election year.
Yes.
And you may be the kind of person you think, well, elections don't matter. I'm not going to go vote. I don't care. But I want to say that had Donald Trump not put those members in the Supreme Court, we would have had a liberal court.
Right.
If we'd had Hillary Clinton as a president for 4 years and she'd replaced those. And it scares me a little bit, and I don't use that term very much, but it frightens me to think that they would have come out in Supreme Court, a liberal court. I'm hypothetically speaking,
Right.
But judging by the way the wind blows in politics, I think a liberal court would have voted that Texas would not have been able to protect their border.
I tell you what else would have happened. Our gun rights would have been severely trampled on.
So
at this
what
point.
in 8 years after this election, let's go forward 8 years, do you want to see impacted? The election matters.
Right.
This election matters. So I want to encourage people, as we're thinking about an election year, go vote. You need to go vote. And if you're a conservative, you need to go vote. I know that this is a conservative community, but we need to show strong voting numbers. Our voting numbers were down in the last election the other day.
Yes,
And,
way down.
It was disappointing.
And you know what else is way down? And this is the state of Tennessee. I don't know about Lawrence County in particular, but the state of Tennessee, it was way down from 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's concerning, and I tell you why that's concerning, because even in Tennessee, if the voting was way down when they were doing the mail-in voting, the drop box voting, and things like that,
Sure.
Why are we this far down on our voting? And I mean, I'm talking, it went from almost 70% to the mid-20s.
Wow.
The mid-20s, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. That's low.
That's extremely low.
Well, it's where we are now is a very different times, and I never would have thought we would have seen the Supreme Court have to step in and say someone could be on the ballot. To not put someone on the ballot, the Democrats will be saying, well, that destroys our democracy, doesn't it? I mean, that's all we hear is about how doesn't that destroy the democracy by not having, of course, we're a democratic republic.
Right.
But they would use that term, and I'm using a little bit of their terminology against them right now.
You know, they kind of used the 25th Amendment against Trump while Trump was in office, and I wonder why the Democrats aren't talking about using the 25th Amendment on Biden.
That's right. That's right.
But you know what's even funny about that is Republicans really aren't talking about it either. And I will say this: I'm gonna go out on a limb and may get slapped for this, but you know what? That's okay that they're not doing it, because we don't need to play their games.
That's true.
We don't need to be as ugly as they are.
That's true.
And I tell you this, and if you're of the Democratic nature, I'm sorry what I'm about to say is going to probably really offend you, but I would rather scare you into heaven than to flatter you into hell. I will tell you this: the time is short, and the time for honoring yourself is soon going to come to an end. You're going to meet your Maker, whether he comes back
Sure.
in the clouds or we die. We had a very good friend of ours die last week.
Mm-hmm.
But we all will meet our Maker face to face.
Right.
And I will tell you, if you're in doing evil things, you may be getting away for it right now.
Yeah.
But you know what? The devil, he doesn't like to mess with what he already has.
Mm-hmm.
And but I will say this: the time for honoring yourself will soon come to an end.
Yeah, and this is definitely the generation that honors themselves. Talking about, I know we're getting down a rabbit trail, but
Yeah.
and we'll pull back out of it in a minute. But I was telling one of my sons the other day, I actually were talking with them, and I have 4 sons still at home, and we were having a discussion, and I said, in your generation, your lifetime, things are going to change very fast. Mm-hmm. And I said, your generation can stomach crime, but they can't stomach the punishment. They can stomach carjackings. They can stomach, every bit of this is okay, but they can't stomach jail time. They can't stomach capital punishment. They can't stomach these things. And I said, so you're seeing this actually flip to where there's a tolerance level for things that are wrong, and there's a zero tolerance for things that are right. And that's why when we see things, we're like, is this really a Supreme Court judgment? Supreme Court really needs to step in and say, yes, Texas can defend the border. Really? We really need the Supreme Court to make those kinds of decisions, because the founders of this nation never saw that. Supreme Court would ever have to be making those kinds of rulings. I don't believe it. I'll never be convinced that the founders of this country thought that the Supreme Court would be used in that manner.
They're not supposed to be.
That's right.
In that matter. And you know what? The federal government's only given 18 enumerated powers to begin with.
Right.
And one of those enumerated powers, one of those 18 enumerated powers that they're supposed to be doing, is securing the border.
Yep.
I almost said, almost let out of.
Yep.
But it's securing the border.
Right.
And they can't even do that. But you know what? I mean, I watch how these people interact, and it just does not surprise me. You know, it's kind of funny. The leftist people get more offended with words than they do with actions.
They do. They absolutely do.
You know, to me, the person that's coming into this country illegally, they're illegal. Mm-hmm. But they get more upset about you calling them an illegal and undocumented. What the heck is the difference?
Right.
I mean, are you really that triggered? Are you really that soft of an individual? And that's the reason why. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, people like that, I don't care if they're 6'8" and 350 pounds. They don't scare me because they're soft. They're not only soft physically, but they're soft mentally.
Well, that's true. I agree, Lawrence. So what's going on at the state capitol? You've been up there for the past couple of days.
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I'm truly, I don't know where to begin. I will tell you this. It was funny. And I told you the story earlier, but I'm wandering the halls.
Literally,
yeah. Literally wandering the halls, and it's amazing that they let me wander that place.
It's amazing. It truly is amazing.
I mean, but if you want to see your government in action, mm-hmm. you need to go experience it.
You seen any lobbyists?
I've seen a lot of lobbyists.
Packing the halls.
Yes.
You want to know where, if people listen to this show, I mean, if you want to know where the ridiculous laws come from, it's from lobbyists.
It is.
They are writing the course of this country. They are recreating what was supposed to be something to be a free nation. Lobbyists are working every day to tear it down.
So I'm going to give somebody that's listening to this. Can you give me about 2 or 3 minutes? I'll try to do as quickly as possible. But I was there last week because of the sovereignty nullification bill, and wound up running across somebody, and the guy's name is David Rogers Webb. And I know David in this aspect. I didn't know him personally, but I got to know him over the last week. But I knew who he was because he wrote a book called The Great Taking. Now, everybody that's listening, you can go get this book for free online. It's called thegreattaking.com. He's also has hundreds of thousands, even millions of views on YouTube talking about this book that he has written. He actually flew in from Sweden on his own dime. He's not a lobbyist. He doesn't represent anybody, but he's seen a bill that that Bud Halsey was carrying that he thought he could make a difference maybe. And I'm going to give the very synopsis, very Cliff Notes, easy version of this to make people understand. You've heard me say numerous times, Brandon, that if you can't put your hands on it, you don't own it. And it's just one of my sayings that I have. And, you know, I come from an investment banking background. Well, here's the thing in a nutshell, the very simple form of this. If you think your IRA, your 401k, your investments that you own, you really don't. If you go talk to the people from Lehman Brothers that had their money at Lehman Brothers, sometimes it took them over 5 years to get their money back after Lehman Brothers went belly up. Mm-hmm. And then they had to go to court to get their money back. Do you know why they had to go to court to get their money back, Brandon? It's their money, right? No, it's not your money, because these investments are sold off by larger banks, are sold off by broker-dealers, and they're put into derivatives.
Yep.
Okay? And what winds up happening, if a derivative was to fail and go belly up, then the person that is the top of the food chain that is left holding the bag owns your money. You are third in line to get your money back. If you don't believe me, go read the book, go do your own research. Okay? David was testifying on a bill that Bud Halsey wrote and carried to
What's
try
the name
to
of the book David wrote?
The Great Taking.
The Great Taking, folks,
Okay.
if you're listening. Yeah. Go ahead.
So he was trying to just here on his own dime, on his own fruition, trying to get legislators to understand that this is a good bill where it did only two things, Brandon. Number one, it made the person that owns their investment, whether their 401k, their mutual funds, their stocks, any of that, it makes them, if the broker dealer or the bank goes belly up, you're first in line to get your money back. Not somebody that has put it into a tranche or they put it into a derivatives. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is if you're domiciled and you live here in Tennessee, that the Tennessee courts would get to decide how you get your money back if it goes that far, and not some courts, federal courts up in New York or international courts in Hague or somewhere.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all the bill does. The banking lobbyists came down, and I'm sorry, I hate saying that, but they were not being truthful when they said that the law did not do that, and it was going to affect the way the people could invest their money. And it was the furthest thing from the truth. To make a long story short, it passed the Senate 9-0.
Wow.
In the House, it got put back on the back burner, basically defeated to go to a summer study session.
Yep.
And I would love, and I may one day say who killed it, but it's one of the legislators up there that killed it. And I'm very, very, very disappointed in this. I was actually sitting in a meeting yesterday with Bud Halsey, had David Webb there. We had two of the Tennessee banking lobbyists there, and we actually had the Treasury Secretary there, the guy that runs the Treasury for Tennessee.
Wow.
And he actually told David, he goes, "I'm reading your book."
Wow.
He says, "I am reading your book." He says, "I am very interested in this." But he's having these lobbyists who he knows. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know David from Adam. Okay, but he knows these lobbyists,
Sure
and these
he does.
lobbyists are telling him differently.
And they're donating to their campaigns.
Well, the Treasury Secretary, he's not.
Well, I'm talking about for our legislators.
That's correct.
If you want to know what motivates these people, that's what motivates them.
Money.
And the love of money is the
Root of all evil. And it's the love of money. I want people to understand.
Love of money. So, yeah, that's terrible that things like that get stopped in the great state of Tennessee. But I'm glad folks like you, Lawrence, are up there and you're involved and you're actually coming back talking about it and bringing it to light. It doesn't get swept under the rug. So thank you for doing that.
I got to say this too. We have these legislators have 1,500 bills that they have to sort through in a 3-month period of time. It is impossible.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something.
1,500 bills.
1,500 bills that
Wow.
each one they have to look through to go over.
Is that 1,500 that will go to committee, or are they?
Yeah, that's 1,500 that'll go to committee.
Wow.
And I want people to understand this. Hear me on this. If you are mad at what your legislator might have voted on, and you didn't call them or talk to them, shame on you. You have no reason to be. Because I have had some bills that have come up with some legislators that I know, and they can't know everything. And their first instinct, because of these lobbyists and other people, these bureaucrats that are in their ears, is to vote the wrong way on it.
Yeah.
But when they're given the information and they're giving the real information, they are making the correct decision, Brandon.
That's good. That's good.
I'm going to tell you, I don't want to call out any legislators by name because I greatly appreciate them letting me have their ear.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an honor
Yeah.
to have their ear.
These are our representatives, and
they're representing us.
they're
They
representing
really are.
what you do. They really are. They're a representation of what they see going on here. You see people that are disconnected, they're not involved, And it's disappointing in some ways. And I've been there. I'm not beating people up. I'm just trying to wake people up.
That's
what I
right.
want
That's
to-
right. Because me and you are guilty of
Right.
this.
Guilty. I'm guilty as charged. And COVID slapped me and woke me up. And I probably better leave it at that and just keep moving on. But
Right.
the thing is, I'm grateful for folks that are out there and they're actually getting involved, such as yourself. And there are a lot of good folks up there.
There are.
And it just takes just a few people to stop some really, I don't know if I want to say how I want to say, some greedy lobbyists. I'll say that.
Right.
Yeah, a few folks can stop a lot of that, and it helps. But they can't read 1,500 bills. They're not going to. It's physically impossible.
It's physically impossible.
I wish we had legislation to limit how many they could write. I'm just being honest.
Well, you know what?
We don't need 1,500 new laws every year in the state of Tennessee.
Well, see, each legislator, here's the crazy thing, each legislator can bring 15 bills themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 99 state legislators, we have like 33 senators. So just do the math. But you know what? Like William Lamberth is one of the, I forget his exact title, but he's right underneath Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the House. I was looking at his bills the other day, and because of his special privilege where he's at, in the hierarchy.
And he only represents, I think, one county.
Yeah. But
Sumner County.
Sumner County.
Right.
Okay, but because where he's brought himself, in the hierarchy, and I'm sorry, people, you can really understand if you listen
He's
to
majority leader, isn't he?
Is that what he's called? Okay.
Maybe.
But I'm just showing my ignorance here.
Sure.
But I'm trying, even in my ignorance, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to do things.
And he's a Republican, for anyone who wants to know.
He is. He's carrying 144 bills.
Wow.
144 bills.
That is amazing.
There's no way he can know every one of those bills. And you know what? Here's the bad thing. As bad as it is in Tennessee, it's 10 times worse in Congress.
Yeah.
I think Harsh was telling us that one of the representatives that we had met for Blackburn, Senator Blackburn.
Yeah.
I think he was saying that they have to go through like hundreds of thousands of bills.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, it's
if I
ridiculous.
remembered it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You can't do it.
No.
So I would.
And it's by design
It is by design. That's why I
to
was saying
flood the system.
we have to change that.
To flood the system.
We have to change it. I think if we did this even the next 10 years, if all we did was go in, pass a budget, okay, and then look to see which laws that we can take off the books. Let's have every representative go and look at 15 bills. Let them bring 15 laws that are already in place that are useless, stupid laws, and let's get rid of them.
Yeah.
And we can start with the seatbelt.
You just made somebody swerve. Can't believe you said that. Little Johnny, close your ears. Seatbelts are safe. Hey, I know if you don't want to wear a seatbelt, it'd be nice to not have to wear one. But
You know what? The thing is on the seatbelt, and I'm not going to get in here on air about it. But all I'll tell you to do is go look at the Department of Transportation and go look at the statistics over the last 30 years, people that die wearing seatbelts and people that die not wearing seatbelts.
I understand. Well, you make your own judgment, folks.
That's correct.
We're not supporting
No,
it.
we're
either
not
way.
supporting either way, but I have enough man in me that you're not going to tell me what I have to do to drive a car.
Okay. We believe in freedom here.
We believe in freedom.
We believe in freedom.
If you, and if you think it's freedom to be stupid, then it's freedom for me to be stupid.
You're not free when you get on the roads anymore.
No, you're not.
I mean, you're bound by a lot of regulation, legislation. I mean, you're going to have insurance. You're going to have your vehicle the way it should be. And some of it I like.
Absolutely.
Some of it I don't like. I mean, it is a pretty awesome thing to get in a machine and drive it 70 miles an hour down the highway.
Right.
And I know you drive faster than that, but
Unfortunately,
and I do too. I speed just as well.
Mm-hmm.
But and I want people to be at least educated on what they're about to operate before they get behind the wheel. Obviously, go look at other countries that have no laws. Go look at just go online on YouTube and look at like India, Go look at Egypt. Go look at these places and how they drive, and it is crazy. It will blow your mind to see how they actually drive, honking the horn and bumping each other. And, just a little bump doesn't hurt anything in some countries. So I don't want traffic situations the way they have it. I don't
No.
So, but that is...
I'm trying to be funny on this. If it didn't come across as me joking, then I'm trying to joke.
I'm trying to lay it out as we're serious, but we also, tongue-in-cheek, no, you can't do it unregulated.
That's correct.
That would be foolish. But so let me ask you a few questions about what do you think overall with this session, 2024? Do you think it's been productive? Do you think things are moving in the right direction in the state of Tennessee? What's your feelings?
My feelings is it's not. Just being there, I really think I was very disappointed that they put off the sovereignty bill that protects Tennessee residents from in my mind, a corrupt government.
Yeah.
And even if the government's not corrupt, okay, I do believe we need to get back to the Constitution. There's 18 enumerated powers given by the states to the federal government.
The states give power to the federal government.
Right.
The federal government does not empower the states.
That's correct.
Right.
And I think that needs to come back to that. I mean, that is, and we're seeing this more and more because you go look at a state like California. 20 years ago, if we were talking 20 years ago, go move to California or go move to Washington State. Even go move to Colorado. Oh, okay, all right, I'll go move there. Today, because of the amount of freedoms that have been taken from their citizens and what they are doing, you couldn't pay me. You couldn't give me a home in those states. And I'm being dead serious. You could not give me...
Well, with the tax rate it would cost you... I mean,
it doesn't even matter. I'm talking about the actual freedoms that these people do not have freedoms.
Right.
Just because you can get in your car and maybe go to work, maybe go to Walmart and buy some food, sit down on your couch and watch Dancing with the Stars does not mean you have freedom.
Right.
And our freedoms are being taken. Ronald Reagan said that freedom is only one generation away from being taken, and we're right in the middle of it right now. As a matter of fact, it started with Obama. When Obama said in 2008 that he was going to fundamentally change this country,
he did.
He has done a good job at it.
He did.
And I look at how things were in 2008, and I look at how things are today, and I will tell people this. I want you to think, were you better off? Mm-hmm. Do you feel more safe today than you did in 2008? Was it easier for you to provide for your family in 2008 or today? And these are the things that you need to honestly ask your question or ask yourself this.
Yeah.
And if you come to the point that, well, yeah, it's easier now than it was then, okay, great. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it at all.
I don't think so either. And I remember 2008. I remember the high gas prices. I remember the housing
$4.
bubble.
Yeah, I remember $4 a gallon. Yeah.
I remember General Motors being bailed out. I remember all those things. What got me about General Motors being bailed out was we bailed out car companies, and I'm fixing to really make some people mad probably with this statement. But
okay.
We bailed out car companies and actually worked for the federal government. The United States Postal Service needed vehicles, and they could have had General Motors build the cars, and they could have just did a car purchase, but instead they did a bailout.
They did a bailout, all right. Yeah. And they went and bought Mercedes, did they not?
Yeah. And they have bought Mercedes, so they're buying foreign vehicles now, now, as we speak. I'll throw them on the bus a little bit. I don't care, but
I mean, how embarrassing is that?
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. They did a bailout, and the trucks that you see driving up down the road, even the ones, I'm fixing to throw this really out there, even the ones that are here in this county, except for the Mercedes, the vehicles that were bought to deliver mail are 1988 through 1994 models. The newest one of those little box trucks is a 1994.
So you're saying that these are cars older than what me and you drive, and me and you drive some old cars.
They're old. They're old. None of them will pass. None of them will pass the EPA standards. None of them will pass that. MARTA, every one of them will fail.
Right.
Because the federal government will pass regulation on its citizens that itself will not follow.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
There you go.
And you're seeing it more and more every day.
Every day.
You know, you look at what Trump has gone through on this election, and I've made it perfectly clear I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not. But when I look at how they're treated, could you imagine if we had a true God-loving conservative that was running? What they would do to them?
It would be bad.
It would be.
We need a true conservative to run for governor of the state of Tennessee.
Yes, we do.
We need to be thinking about that. And people could say, that's 2 years away. I promise you, right now is the time you start selecting your candidates.
Right.
You don't wait till 6 months out and start selecting your candidates. Mm-mm. That's not how this works. We've got to be involved in that process. And to the citizens of Lawrence County, I'll say when you have low voter turnout on election day, it's hard to get candidates to come speak in our area because there's not the return on the investment for them to come here.
Right.
So they watch the voter turnout.
Absolutely,
if you want to know why you don't get candidates to come to it's hard to get candidates to come here. I'm just being honest.
Right.
We don't have that many candidates that come to Lawrence County. And this is a large county. We ought to have much more interaction with our elected representatives, but low voter turnout has an impact on that.
Right. Right. I mean, but again, it's that old saying, you got to be in to win.
You got to be in it to win it.
And we're just not.
Well, I do think good things are happening. I do see good people standing up, and I want to encourage them to keep doing so. I think in this county we have Republicans running for school board, and we're fixing to have 4 Republicans elected to our school board. Like it or not, you can't change the facts. That's a fact.
Right.
And you can say we didn't have anything to do with it, but I don't believe that. I believe the Republican Party in Lawrence County, all those people come in those meetings, you've made a difference.
Well, and I will say this too. Kudos to those people for A, running as Republicans,
Absolutely.
and B, every single one of them came. I seen them at a Republican Party meeting.
Absolutely, they've been out there, they've been involved,
but they need to follow the platform.
Follow the platform.
Need to follow the platform, and don't make yourself scarce. You need to stay involved. Stay involved with us. You know what was funny, Brandon? You know, before we were even involved even with the Republican Party, you know, we had done some political events out there at West End Community Center.
That's correct.
And
in 2022.
In 2022. And I remember we had, what was it, over 40 candidates?
42 candidates.
42 candidates that actually came to that event. And
in March 2022.
Yeah, we brought in probably 300 to 350 people.
Yep.
But not one school candidate.
They would not speak.
They would not come.
And I invited every one of them. I called the phone number that was on the election, at the election
You sent them
office,
mail.
and I was going to add that in. I also sent them a letter, and I put my return address on it, first class mail, so it could only go to 2 places. It could go to the address they had at the election commission office, or it would come back to me. I didn't get one letter back.
Right.
And not one person off our school board was willing to come speak at that event.
So to have 4
there you go
coming is different.
I'll take it one step further. The person who was actually school board representative for that district wouldn't come speak at that event.
Right.
That's I don't know what else to say.
Right.
I can't twist that. That's just the facts. You can like it or you can not.
And you know, and it's sad because if you're in the district there in West End, and I would encourage all of our community centers to do this. Yeah. But West End will bring in 125 to 150 people at a breakfast.
This Saturday coming up.
And most of those people vote right there at West End Community Center. Right.
Good folks, good community.
Good folks, good community. Same thing with Henryville. You know, those people that are coming to support their communities are coming and doing this support. These are the same people that vote. These are the people that are involved. These are the people that care.
That's right.
And if you can't even take the time to meet with your constituents, maybe it's time that you go look to do something else.
Well, you need to be out there, and I'm thankful for the 4 candidates that were elected in the
I am
primary.
too.
I'm thankful for them being out there and being involved. I look forward to working with each one of them. I think it's changing.
Yes.
I was talking about 2022 because I think the change has already taken place at 2024.
Right.
And I'm even looking forward to 2 years from now in 2026. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about running for school board, you need to start thinking about it now.
That's
you need to start
correct.
getting involved now. Go to school board meetings. Get involved now. See what's going on.
Thinking about running for county commissioner.
I'm going to say this. If you're a citizen in this community and you have never been to a school board meeting or a county commissioner meeting, you need to go to at least one.
That's right.
If you've never been, you need to go to at least one, at least see how it works. If you're a parent, take your kid and take them there. They don't teach basic county government in public school systems.
Mm-mm.
It's not taught.
No.
Unless a teacher wants to do it on their own.
Right.
Because you're not seeing 18, 19, 20-year-olds growing up that even know what the county clerk does. They don't know what a court clerk does. People don't know. There's a lot of people that are 50 years old that don't know.
That's correct.
Because they just not, and it's not because we're dumb. It's because we're not taught. But we
weren't
should
taught
know these things.
That's right. That's right.
And it bugs me on the schools board, on the school side, not school board, but on the school side of things, because our education should involve the government that we are born into, and we're subject to this government here in a county. And it doesn't matter where you live in Tennessee, you're going to have a county seat, you're going to have a courthouse, you're going to have a system in place. And it's amazing to me how we are just not teaching these things to schools. I mean, let me ask this question. How many kids in 10th grade right now in this county could tell you who their county commissioner is?
Right.
Or could tell you, and I'm going to twist it back on school. Would they know who the school board is, making decisions about what's going on in their halls?
Or who even runs the school?
That's right. They need to know these things, and it's we got to get more proactive as parents, and that's where it'll start. If you want to get it in the school system, start doing it in home.
Right.
So if you're a parent, take your kid to one of them. And your kid may get bored. It's okay if your kid gets a little bored every now and then and sits through a meeting, but it's a big deal to not be intimidated by going to these type of events. And
well, you know, we own these events. We own
do.
these places.
we do.
You know, it's your facilities.
Yep.
And I will tell you this: you have no excuse here in Lawrence County to get involved,
Right.
Because most, and I'm happy to say this. I would love to say all, but I'm going to say a vast majority of our elected officials here in this county want our involvement, and they welcome
They
our
do.
involvement.
Absolutely.
And they run things to not only better the community, but to make sure that the community is included if you'll get involved.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, I just don't know of any other place where you can do that.
Yep. Get involved. Be out there. And thanks to all of our elected officials for
Yeah.
your stand. We appreciate you. So, jumping gears just a little bit, we talked about the presidential election a little bit. What do you think about what's going on with Biden campaign? You know, a lot of people are saying that Biden wouldn't be on the ticket. Looks like he's going to be the Democrat.
He is.
Candidate.
He is.
You know, you hear a lot of, and I don't get caught up in all that. You know, they're going to put Harris on the ticket. I just don't get caught up in that. I think they're going to have to run him as a candidate. They don't want Kamala Harris on the ticket. I can tell you that right now. She is a disaster. Democrats can no longer make fun of Dan Quayle as a
Vice president.
They can no longer. Kamala Harris is a disaster as a vice president.
You know, the bad thing of it is, you know, everybody made fun of Dan Quayle because Dan Quayle couldn't spell
Tomato.
or potato or whatever it was. But you know what? Dan Quayle might not could have spelled, but Kamala Harris can't talk.
She is a very bad candidate for vice president. The Democrat Party. I'm gonna say I'm not a Democrat, but the Democrat Party's got a lot more people way better qualified.
Way better qualified. That's what I was going to say. I mean, this lady, when I can speak better than you can, and this is our vice president.
Yeah.
There's some issues there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So if Joe Biden was not going to be on the ticket, we would have a Kamala Harris ticket coming up. Could possibly. They could change it at their
Absolutely, they
DNC
can.
convention. They could change it, but they're not going to. I believe you're going to see Joe Biden on that ticket head-to-head with Donald Trump. I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you think's going to win this time, Lawrence? What's your feelings?
What is my feelings? Wow, do you really want me to tell you?
Do you think Joe Biden's going to win? We're being real. We've picked on Democrats and Republicans in here.
I will tell you that after watching 2,000 Mules, after looking at the crowds that Donald Trump gets compared to Joe Biden and the support that you see for Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and the simple fact that the Democrats are not even talking about replacing Joe Biden, even though it is vastly obvious, even to a 10-year-old child, that there's some cognitive decline and issues there.
Sure. Well, they just had the investigation where literally the investigator said he's just a nice old man. He really can't even get the facts straight on his son's death and the dates straight.
I'm just telling you that just looking at what they allow us to see.
Sure.
When you gather all that together, I think the Democrats are so confident in the way that elections are ran in this country, and I'm just going to leave it at that, that they're going to win.
Well,
because there's no way.
So you feel like end of the day, Joe Biden's he has a good chance of winning a re-election?
I do, because I think there's so much apathy, or I'm trying to think of the apathy in this country of not caring. I also think that there's a lot of people that, because of the media and the stigma that they put on Trump, that they just don't like him because of his personality. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something, Brandon. Really and truly, Trump's personality does not bother. I actually kind of like his personality. I like my leader to say exactly what he thinks. I like the fact that the man does not censor himself.
Right.
I like the fact that I much rather know what a man thinks and he tells me what he thinks than for him to go behind my back and stab me in the back. Okay. I respect a man that way. Now, there's some of his policies I don't respect. I don't respect how he's kind of backtracking on homosexual marriage. He's backtracking on abortion. He has not been gun-friendly as much as people may want to say he has. He really has not. Okay? He has... he is however the Democrats want to say this, and maybe this is a good thing for Democrats if you're voting. He was the author of Warp Speed to get the vaccines out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I say all that to say this, that the man's been demonized, and I would much rather have him as my leader, especially with what we're looking at going on in our country today, than Joe Biden, because the man understands business. I really believe the government should be ran as a business. We have ran the government as a government for too long, and now you know why we're in the mess that we're in. It's kind of funny that businesses are successful, but our government is not. They have access to an unlimited printing machine. How successful could you run a business, Brandon, if you had access to an unlimited printing machine to print money anytime you need it?
Well, I think I could succeed.
You think you could succeed at that?
I probably wouldn't fail.
Right, but our government's failing.
Right, it is.
So what does that tell you?
It is. It's failing. With all the laws that's passing every year, it's failing.
That's correct.
They're making their own changes and failing. They could change. You know, we talk about all these thousands of bills that come up, and they can't come up with ideas that save themselves, that save our government.
They're not trying to.
They're not trying to. I agree.
They're not trying to. Yeah. I mean, I hate saying that. I don't want to sound like I'm down on this. It makes me.
Well, you've been up there for 2 days.
It makes me want.
What's going on our state level?
It makes me want to fight even more.
Level.
Oh, it's 10 times worse on national level, because even the people that I encounter on the other side, other than a few of them, were very nice and very respectful. I'm just going to tell you. I had great interactions with one of the reps from Memphis. His name is Antonio Parkinson.
Okay.
And what a very nice Democrat, very nice, respectful man.
Right.
that I could sit down and break bread with.
Yeah.
So
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Good guy.
So, I mean, I'm just telling you, we have great people in this state. We have great people in this county, and we just can't seem to get it together because we're so busy infighting over things that really doesn't matter.
Right. We get petty.
We get very petty.
Yeah, it does. Being petty doesn't belong in politics. You cannot be petty and be involved in politics. And either way, you got to be able to come in and look at the full arena of what's going on, the battle of ideas. I love the battle of ideas. I love coming in and listening to people talk about it. I hope people can listen to this show even if they don't agree with it. You could if you can't listen to a show you can't agree with, you got a problem.
Right.
You really do. I mean, you could say, well, I just don't want to listen. But we're beating up on everybody in here today.
We are.
I mean, we're not leaving anybody out because we want to be fair. But we're being real with one another. And we want to see improvements in our elected officials on our local level and state level and on a national level. We want to see continual improvement. That's what we should be wanting for our country and for our state. And so, yeah, and I know there's a lot of good folks out there that do. I want to encourage people, though, stay involved, get involved with your community. I'd like to say something else. If you don't volunteer anywhere, go volunteer. Go volunteer put a couple of years in somewhere. And It doesn't matter wherever you want to go volunteer. There's plenty of places. There's a lot of good folks that are retired or maybe they're have some more free time. Kids are grown, out of the house. Maybe you don't even have kids. Go volunteer. Go get involved in your community. And it will pay you dividends. You will find a lot of good folks here in this community, and I want to say thank you to all the good volunteers that are in this community because there's a lot of good ones.
We got some good ones, buddy. Man, we got some good ones.
I know folks that they work hard as volunteers here, and it's appreciated.
Yeah.
People don't say thank you to the ones that clean the bathrooms and are doing all the hard work that they put out there. But I work with shoulder to shoulder, just like you do, with a lot of volunteers. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you.
As we're sitting here talking about it, I do want to call out one by name, and we like having fun with him and messing with him. But J.C. Wisdom does a lot for this community.
Yeah, he does. He's a good one.
And you want to talk about, kind of like Trump, J.C. says what he is. He doesn't have a filter.
J.C.'s a Trump supporter.
He is a Trump supporter, but I mean, I'm just telling you that he's got a lot of Trump in him. Is that a lot of people may get mad at him, but you know what? You know exactly where J.C. Wisdom stands. He lets you know. Even if he likes you, he lets you know where you stand.
That's right. That's right. And that's the kind of people I like to be around.
I do too.
I love it. And, I want to say to our other elected officials, if you want to come in and be a part of the show, we would like for you to come in and be a part.
Yeah.
Come in. You can set the tone for how you want to go. We'll give you the show, and you just kind of run with it. And we'll be in here, elected officials that want to explain what their offices are in the community. I'm more than willing to let them have a seat at the microphone.
Yeah, come in, talk to us. We'll have fun. We won't hurt you. I don't know if you knew this or heard this, but there's rumblings that Joey Hensley is going to be primaried.
Really? Well, okay.
There's a doctor supposedly out of Columbia that's going to run against Joey.
A Republican?
A Republican.
He ain't got a chance.
That's what I said too. But Joey was telling me that in his office yesterday.
Yeah.
He told me that.
Well, you know what? And I'm glad that people can get in there in primary. And I like to see.
Yes.
I'm actually not mad that somebody would run against Joey.
No.
It's what keeps things going the way it should.
That's right.
I like to see races come in that way.
I do too, but it kind of shocked me because I tell you what, and he's not our senator anymore, but I'm up there, and I see the respect that Joey Hensley gets even from the other side.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, the other side even respects Joey.
And one more time before we get out of here, call Chris Stutz with Farm Service Solutions. He's on Facebook. Go look at farmservicesolutions.com. He's putting things on there every week. He writes up cool little articles about the items he has. His phone number is 931-242-7675. Drive by 41 Williams Road in Leoma, Tennessee. Tell him you heard about it on the Lawrence County Republican Party show and tell him you want a deal.
That's right.
Tell him I'm down here for the Republican deal. He'll get a kick out of that.
Tell him that you want Lawrence Sutton deal.
Okay, you want a Lawrence Sutton
a Lawrence Sutton price.
All right. That's awesome. And just to let you know you may not get a better deal. You might get a funny story.
Yeah, either that or you might get a worse deal, maybe.
You might get a funny story. Call Travis Caldwell's if you're looking for property. United Country Real Estate, SouthernTennesseeRealty.com, 931-629-3033. People are buying property. People are selling property in Lawrence County. This place is really about to explode with growth. I wish the local folks here would really see what's about to happen. It would make you want to get involved. If you could look into the future and see 10 years from now into Lawrence County, you would be very surprised at what's about to take place in this community. People are moving to Tennessee, and people are moving to Lawrence County.
They are. Why don't you take us out? We got the West End Community Center.
West End Community Center breakfast. I see a lot of elected officials there. They come out. Thank you for all those that do. We start serving food at 6:30 to 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
Eat Brandon's rubbery bacon.
Come on, eat some bacon. Maybe you just moved here and you never had chocolate gravy. So many people in this world have never heard of chocolate gravy.
Right.
We got world famous Connie Taylor. Chocolate gravy and biscuit. I'm telling you, if you don't like it, there's something wrong with your tongue.
That's right.
We do. We have tenderloin and biscuit. We got bacon. We've got eggs and potatoes. Chocolate gravy, sweet tea,
regular gravy. Don't forget the regular
coffee.
gravy.
Come on out and enjoy a day with us.
And I tell you, $8. You cannot get breakfast as much as this for $8.
And the goal is to keep it at a family price where a family could come out and still eat together and enjoy it. But you know what? We couldn't have that price if it wasn't for the volunteers in the kitchen.
That's correct.
If you had to pay a minimum wage, you'd have to pay double that much if you just paid a minimum wage.
That's right.
What you get.
Republican Party meeting when?
The fourth Tuesday of the month.
Yes.
I don't know the
Coming
date.
up next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. That's right. I'll be there if you will.
I'll be there. I plan on being there since 6 o'clock.
W287 AA and W237 FD Lawrenceburg. Broadcast services of Prospect Communications.
Come see the new courtroom. Come be a part of the
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Dropping gems
That's
on
right.
the ones
That's
and
right. If
twos.
anything,
From the
you can
Rich
make fun
Eisen
of
Show
us.
studio in Los Angeles.
I appreciate
Anytime
everyone.
the
We love
Cowboys
Lawrence
sign a
County.
free
God
agent,
bless
we
you.
should treat it
God
like,
bless
like
Lawrence
it's the
County.
old Jerry
God
Lewis.
bless you, Brandon. Thank you
telethon
for all you do.
Appreciate you.
See you.
Go Dowdle. Add him to the list of Eric Kendricks.